What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Speaking Llama, a Survivor podcast where I am going solo this episode. This is Caleb, your favorite host, as always. And while Alex may not be here, I am joined by maybe one of the loudest and biggest players of Australian Survivor, Brains versus Brawn II, Nash. Nash, how are you doing today? Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on here. Been waiting for a while to do this.
Yes, Alex and I love it when we get like real excited when players reach out to us or respond to stuff that we do on social media. And you were one of the first people that did so on the season. And having had you on Team Caleb, as you know, as you might know, Nash, we do fantasy drafts at
Yeah,
the beginning of the year. And I was so pumped to see you reach out. So sad that you had such a early exit,
yeah,
but
me too. Me too. Don't worry.
fair enough. You definitely made one of the biggest impacts or impressions, especially in the early season. And so we're going to talk a
Mhm.
little bit about that today, about your time. I believe you got voted out on day 9. And still, that's like a long time. I mean, it's not a long time on quote Australian Survivor, but US Survivor, that is, over a third of the game.
Mm.
That maybe says more about U.S. Survivor than it does anything else. But we're here to talk all about that and your experience on the show. And to kick us off, what have you been up to since we last saw you, you know, prancing around camp with an idol around your neck?
Just back to business as usual. Hustling like a dad, working, living, growing with kids, enjoying life as you do. Like, nothing really changes for me. I still come back to a dad and a
Mm,
husband and hustle my way through life and, keep smiling.
yeah, great. And remind me, how many children do you have?
I've got two, a 7-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl.
Okay, and what was their reaction to seeing Dad on the TV screen?
Oh, the funny thing is, I came home and my son was still at school, and my daughter's like saw me. She's like, "Where's the Lamborghini? You didn't win." I'm like, "Great, where's my hug? Hello." And then my son saw me. Obviously, I'm very close with my son, and
Mm,
he teared up. He's like, "Daddy," and it was really good to see him. Like
yeah.
my son till now, I think watches Survivor at least 3 or 4 episodes on repeat every single day.
Wow.
He's got it on his iPad. I downloaded it and he watches, it's word by word, all the 4 episodes that I was on. He knows it
Uh-huh.
instant, like word by word. He loves it.
That is so
Loves it.
awesome to hear. Now, is he gonna be a future Survivor player?
Hopefully, look, you never know. We'll see where he is in 11 years' time. But
Yeah,
look, he loves it. He always asks questions. Was this hard? This and that and all. But like for me, I went in at 125 kilos,
yeah.
which I'm not the fittest guy or the
Mm,
strongest guy. And I just wanted to go out there, and really my story was to go out and prove to Australia that being big, it's okay. You can
yeah.
be proud of yourself and you can go against the best. And that's what I wanted to do. And I hope I gave some people a bit of hope. And um, what's the best word to say? Hope is probably the best thing, and a bit of positivity in their lives to say, hey, doesn't matter about my size. I can do this. I
Mm,
don't care what size or what race you are or what you look like or how much you can lift. Be yourself, have faith in yourself, and you can make it to places. And that's what I hope to prove out there. That's what happened for me.
yeah. That's great. It's a kind of a great story, a mission to have. And I think that is one of the things I love about Survivor is that we do get so many different types of people with different backgrounds, stories, identities that show up on our TV screens, and we get to learn more about them. And for many people, see ourselves in those players. For you, Nash, how long have you been a Survivor fan? What was your journey to get onto the show?
I've been a fan for the last, I'd say, 6 years, jumping on Survivor. I love the show. I love, like, I'm like, oh, that's mad. Is it real? Is everything real? Is it fake? It's definitely real. I tell you that. I was actually going to apply the year, Firas Basil.
Mhm.
He's a very, very close friend of mine.
Mm.
I've known him for over 10 years. And I was going to apply the year he applied, and then I just started a new job, and I just gave up because I'm like, I don't want to do a 3-minute video about myself.
Yeah.
And then, me and his best mate had lunch the day before he flew out, and we're like, imagine you win this, like, what the hell? And then he came back a winner, and then he came back and we celebrated, and it's been a great journey. And I'm like, you know what? Who cares? Let me just apply. So I went online, I applied, and I just sat in the car and recorded a 2.5 minute or 2 minute video, and
Mm.
bang, everything just went bang, bang, bang from there, from, the fitness to the physical to the medical to everything. And I got a chance to be on, and I'd love to get back on again because I haven't finished what I wanted to start.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you made, like I said at the beginning, you made a quick impression. You mentioned in this previous response that you grew up, or you started out watching the show wondering, was it real? Like, what's going on? Like, what were some of the things that surprised you about being on the other side of our TV screen?
Look, no matter, like, you obviously know King George of Bankstown as well.
Yeah. Hmm.
Very close friends with him, and as well. Look, no matter how much they tell you the conditions, the games, everything about the game, the not eating, sleeping on the floor, being wet, the struggle. When someone tells you it and you feel it, it's completely different. Like,
Mm.
no one can prepare you for this.
Yeah.
And I think really the hardest thing for me was on the show, is being away from my kids.
Hmm.
I've traveled before without my kids, but I've always had my phone that I can call and talk to them and see what's going on and if everything's okay.
Hmm.
Being away from them was the biggest struggle, not being able to communicate with them.
Yeah.
I think that
Hmm.
really played a big part in my head personally.
Hmm.
Um, but look,
Yeah.
I've done it. I know how to mentally prepare myself. Hopefully, if I get around to,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and it'll be a lot more easier for me, I believe.
Yeah, no, I think, many of us at home don't fully appreciate like the struggle that it can be to be away from loved ones, especially when you're in an environment where you really don't know who to trust. People can say that you trust them, or you demonstrate some, but we really don't know. Well, what was your strategy headed into the game? Obviously, you have a big start, but what was it that you were wanting to do to start off with the game?
Look, no matter what strategy you want to go in with the game, it's
Yep.
never it. Like, you plan to be this person, you just don't know who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You've got 12, 11 random people around you. You have no idea what their personality is like, and there's 11 different personalities there. So you need to adapt 11 different times.
Mhm.
My strategy was, look, to be honest, I thought I'd go in, make friends, I'd try and stay low, but be a personality where people can approach.
Mhm.
But I think once I found that idol, something just happened, and I'm like, you know what? And I'll tell you the story with the idol. It wasn't
Yes, please
because,
do.
let's just show everyone, haha. I thought if I showed the idol, people like, you know what? This guy wants to play an honest game. He's not playing a
Mhm.
shifty game where he's hiding it. Let's try and work with him.
Yep.
Okay. Obviously, it backfired because it put a target on my head. But sometimes, if you think about it, would you not rather know someone has an idol so you can go and work with him than, hey, let's just flush his idol? Like,
Mhm.
in my head, let's work with this guy. He's being honest. And plus, when Zen was with me, he saw me find it. So I didn't
Yeah.
know whether I could trust him from the beginning. I hadn't met him yet. It's 5 minutes into the game.
Yep.
Whether he can be like, I haven't told anyone, he can go tell everyone to gain people's trust, I didn't know. So I'm like, let's just walk in with it. Who's
Yeah.
done that before? Let's just see their reactions. Let's just have a bit of fun.
Yeah. No, I think that's the fact that Zen finds it with you, and we got the chance to talk with PD, and he mentioned maybe that he like either was there or like showed up very soon after having you found the idol, and so like knowing that so early on, that it makes more sense as to why you might tell everyone that it is. The edit made it kind of appear that you were standing around camp waiting for people to notice. Was that true, or is that more of a editing trick?
Look, if it made good TV, I'm happy for it. Let's just leave it as that.
Yeah. Well, it made some really fun TV.
As long as
Now
it's good TV and it made people smile and laugh, then I know it made a lot of Survivor fans really pissed off. I tell you that. Like, I'll tell you something. After the
yeah.
first episode, I was trending fourth on Australian Twitter, my name,
Wow.
and it
Okay.
was 95% of backlash.
Oh, okay. Well,
I loved it. I loved it.
okay. Well, good, good, good.
I
Yeah, no,
love it.
Survivor fans have lots of opinions. I mean, I'm one of those people, but hey, people, you do what you do on the show, and you roll with the punches and the consequences. And there's a different world where this does work out for you.
Like
It just
it's
didn't.
okay to be just do things different. Like, it's always the same hide it, play it, like hide it. I'm like, let's
Mhm.
just do something different. Like,
Yeah,
why not? Why not?
yeah,
Like, it is what it is. It's 1 in 23 chances it's gonna bite you in the ass or it's gonna work to your advantage. And I just thought maybe people wanted to work with someone who is straight out there honest, come work with me. Because I hustled. I hustled from
yeah.
from day 2 all the way to day 9. I hustled
Mhm.
every day.
Yeah,
Talked and talked and talked. They get me on there. I know I was on the chopping board. I know I'm on the chopping board. Trust me, you want to keep me on there. Get rid of the strong people first. You got to look at the future. Don't look at right now.
yeah. Mhm.
But I guess mindset was look at now and not look at the future, and that's why the brains were a lot more stronger in the end.
Yeah, well, definitely plays out over the course of the season. Well, kind of on that topic, what were your impressions of your tribe mates? Obviously, we see you working with Zen, PD, Kristen a little bit early on, but who were the first people you went to when you hit that beach, starting to build real connections with?
Me and me and
Mhm.
it didn't really show up much on there, but we were really, really tight. Like we
Yeah,
would obviously she's got kids and a husband, and we just connected real, real well. I got along with Zenny obviously, but
yeah,
once Zenny had that injury, really screwed up my game.
yeah.
Really, really screwed up the whole
Mhm.
game for me. Um, because we were ready to do massive things. He was someone that was low key with me, ready to do some crazy blind sides.
Yeah.
Um, his injury cost him and myself a chance to keep going further because we were ready to do some damage. But look,
Mhm.
what's happened has happened. Uh, Jesse very very close with Ben very close with as well. Paulie and Noonan as well talk a lot, would have a laugh. Um, who else? Obviously, Kristen, Ursula, and PD were my three backups that I wanted to be in a alliance with.
Mhm.
PD had different ideas, which is fine. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
If I tell you I'm gonna back you through thick and thin, I'm gonna back you through thick and thin. As you could see, like I was,
Mm.
on the candy vote, I was fighting for Ursula to stay.
Yeah.
Didn't have to. I mean, I
Mm.
didn't have to. I was safe. I didn't care. Like, and even on my exit, yeah, I was telling
Mhm.
everyone, you'd be stupid to vote for Ursula. Like, pour your votes on me. Like,
Yeah.
why get rid of her? She's a powerhouse. Like, just
Mhm.
give her that chance.
Right.
If I fight for you, I'll fight for you, and that's who I am. Like, obviously, coming from a Middle Eastern background, where
Mhm.
when we take you in, we take you in. We'll fight for you till death.
Yeah. For sure. No, and
Mm.
I think that definitely shows up even within the edit and your relationship with Ursula. I do want to talk about that first vote, taking out Candy. It definitely seemed to go down to the wire, kind of trying to figure out where the votes were going, and Kate and Morgan seemed to be the key votes in taking out Candy based off what we saw in the edit. Can you walk us through what happened in that
So
first tribal council?
once we lo- so once I threw the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring that out. I purposely threw the challenge. I don't think I could make it any more obvious, and it was on purpose. Like, I hate
Mhm.
puzzles. Don't even ask me to do puzzles. It was a purpose only. And look, I knew I was safe, and I knew they're going to flush out the idol. Okay,
Mhm.
because it's very obvious. So I'm like, just throw the challenge, and let's see where the tribe is sitting, and who's partnering with the new, and who is actually connecting. So that was
Mhm.
just a thought in my head. I'm just going to throw the challenge.
Yep.
On the way back, I'm like looking in my head. Okay, Ben and Jesse, very tight. Morgan, Kate, very tight. Paulie Noonan, very tight. Kristen, Petey, Ursula, can't touch.
Yep.
Who's left? Candy. I didn't even get a chance to speak to Candy much. I think it was more for me, it was who I didn't connect with and never had that quick chat with.
Mm-hmm.
And just an easy vote, because if I was to target, for example, Paulie, I have to deal with Noonan. If I target Morgan or Kate, then I've got to deal with one of them too. She was the only one that I didn't find that had a close connection with anyone that I could see. Maybe there was, but I just couldn't see it.
Yeah.
It was just an easy vote. Just an easy vote, just to see where everyone's sitting and who's willing to come play with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I convinced most people to vote for the Candy vote. Obviously, Ursula was a bit scared that she was on the chopping block.
Yeah.
So it took a bit of chatter to get Morgan and Kate
Mm.
on board, and it worked.
Yeah. Well, what was your pitch to them? Because we kind of see it, but not really. And so what
Look,
was?
it wasn't
Yeah.
what you seen. There was a lot of missing gaps.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was more like look around and who else? What other option is there?
Yeah.
I've got the
Mm-hmm.
power at the moment. Vote with me. Stick with me. I'll fight for you till the end.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, tell me another option. I go, I'm not dogging Ursula. Day two,
Mm-hmm.
I've told her I've got her back. I'm not dogging her.
Yeah.
If
Mm-hmm.
I did, the whole game might have changed for me. But
Yeah.
if I tell you I've got your back, I've got your back.
Yeah. For sure. Well,
So in the end, it worked. It worked. And then Candy went home, unfortunately, but someone's got to go home.
someone has to go home first, and sometimes that's what I try to remind people is that, especially those first few votes, you don't need a lot. You just need something.
Need something.
It's who is, whether someone upset somebody or someone feels like they're on the outs. You just need a reason in those first few votes,
That's
and
right.
and Candy does go home, and it's unfortunate for her. But
If someone else came up to me with a better pitch and it
yeah,
wasn't Ursula, Petey, or Kristen, I would have definitely been more than
okay.
happy to go for
Is
it.
is there someone else you maybe wish, like, so if there had been, not all these relationships, if someone would have come up and said, I want this person out, who's that other person you would have rather have gone home?
At that point of time,
Yeah, at that point. Hmm.
I actually couldn't tell you because
Okay. Yeah.
I'm very close friends with them. Um,
Yeah.
Look, moving my game forward probably would have been breaking up Jesse Ben.
Okay. Yeah.
If I broke
Hmm.
them two up, it would have shattered the tribe like
Yeah.
into pieces.
Hmm.
That if for game plan, but at
Right.
that point of time, I would have never chosen them. No,
Yeah. Hmm.
no.
And that makes sense. Yeah.
I love those boys to bits.
Yeah.
They're like my brothers. I love them.
For sure. Well, you mentioned this earlier that Zen going home had a big impact on your game. What was your game plan? Right. So let's if we could rewrite history and Zen doesn't get injured in that, y'all have some big moves planning. What was up next for y'all?
So our plan was, well, we would chat every night, and it came to a point one night where I think we were ready to target Noonan.
Mm,
A social character, very bubbly, great to talk to, great to have around the camp, socially strong.
yeah.
Um, Break Paulie Noonan, then you've got Paulie wandering around. Who does he go to?
Hmm.
And then obviously me and Zen would break next to apart.
Yeah.
And then that way you break the alliance that people have, which is that 7 or 6. That way PD, Chris and Ursula are still, like, all right, let's stick with Nash and Zen. Because
Hmm.
Zen was working with the other team as well, but low key.
Yeah.
Don't think they knew that he was willing to work with me because he was ready to do some crazy stuff with me.
Hmm.
So I was always thinking about breaking the pairs up.
Yeah.
That's how my game would have moved forward. Breaking the pairs up works to my advantage, but at
Yeah.
that point in time, where me, PD, Kristen, and Ursula, if we stuck four tight, you can't really break a pair up there. Where everyone
Mhm.
was paired up, and because you had Paulie Noonan, Jesse Ben, Morgan, and Kate, so you break one of them, someone's going to have to, lure across the other way with, and Zen would come across with us as well. Or if
Yeah.
PD decides to flip, then he'd need to come around this way because then he'd be a target. Or if someone, that's how I was playing it in my head.
Mhm. Yeah, which we saw the pairs be the quote buddy system or whatever it was that happened in the merge be an important part of the story. And so breaking up those pairs is a smart strategy to do early on. If Zen going home obviously shakes things up, messes up that plan. When you find out he's gone, what's your game plan? What do you start
Look,
to do?
my first impression was not even about him or my game plan. It was
Mm,
more my buddy is going.
yeah.
Like I'd sleep next
Mhm.
to him every single night. We'd talk, we'd wake up in the morning, have a chat on the beach, we'd laugh. And he was the person that I found my idol with, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he was straight honest with me and I loved it. Like he's a straight shooter and I love the bloke. And um I just wanted him not to really leave. Like I wish he
Yeah.
could stay.
Mhm.
But then once it all hit that he's leaving, I'm like, oh shit, this is going downhill for me.
Yeah.
Because he's a leverage as well. He can talk and he can sway votes,
Mhm.
which is a bonus for me. Where I think socially, I am pretty strong. I can talk. I can talk all day. You know,
Yeah.
I can talk and talk and talk. And in the end, it's if I've sold you enough, I've sold you enough. You know what I mean? And but I think it came to the point where day 7, day 8, there's not much I could do. It was just people didn't trust me for throwing that challenge.
Mm, mhm.
Um, but they got to realize I throw it for a reason, just to see where everything's sitting. I go whether I threw the challenge or not. Like I don't throw it. I've still got an idol. I'm still the strongest. All right. It's a
Mhm.
positive thing for you that I threw it. You flashed my idol out. I didn't
Yeah.
need to play my idol that night. In my gut, I'm like, do I not play it? And then I was like, I looked at Kate. Kate stared me in the eye. I'm like, all right, I've got her. I looked at Morgan. Morgan's face went down. I'm like, no, she's gonna turn. I'm like,
Mm.
I've got to play my idol then.
Yeah.
If you look at the video edit, that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. I'm like, I've got Kate. I'm like, oh, come on, Morgan. In my head, and then she puts her head down. And when someone you look at and they put their head down, it's like, no, nah, I'm not with you.
Yeah.
Even though they were with me, I just had that kind of time. I was like, oh, damn. I'm like, all right, I've got to play it.
Yeah. Well,
So,
yeah, I can only imagine, right? The the idol is burning a hole in your pocket. Your name is kind of on the chopping block in terms of if it's out there. I totally get why you ended up playing it, but especially if you get this kind of impression in tribal council, that makes a lot of sense. What in regards to kind of Zen going home, one of the things that I think people don't often really understand or maybe miss in the first part of the game is that sometimes you know, an extra 2 or 3 days can shift the social dynamics a lot. And so Zen going home is one thing, but y'all go in the first tribal council and then you don't go again until almost a week later. And so do you think that if Braun would have gone to tribal council before then, could there have been a different outcome for you?
possibly, yeah. If I'd
Yeah.
made tribe swap,
Mhm.
it's game over. I mean, it's game over. See, I love how the brains played. I
Yeah.
loved it. I love
Mhm.
everything about it. I love the strategies. I love, always trying to think of what to do next, this and that. I think I would have played great with AJ.
Yeah.
I think I would have played great with Miles. I love like even Rich and Kent. Like I still talk to those two boys. I love them to bits. We always have a chat and see how things are going. And it's like if this happened and if this happened, um, I think if I was on the brains,
Yeah.
it's a whole different game changer. Or if I make tribe swap, I definitely think the whole game would have changed for
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
Because I'm not worried to put myself out there.
Yeah.
I'll put myself there. I will fight if someone's going down, I will fight for you. Don't worry.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely, based off how the brains played, your gameplay definitely seemed to be more aligned
Mm.
with that tribe. One of the things that we haven't had really the chance to ask some players that we've wondered about, this season was brain versus brawn. And sometimes we see that theme in the early game, impact or influence how people are thinking about the game, playing the game. Did the theming impact this season at all from your tribe standpoint?
It was a very mixed um, brain versus bronze. It
Yeah.
was, what? We had brains and bronze in our tribe, and so
Uh-huh.
did the others. It wasn't very brainy, and very brawny.
Yeah.
It was a very mixed tribes,
Yeah.
I would say personally.
Hmm.
Because we've got a lot of smart people in the bronze, and
Hmm.
you've got a lot of brawny people in the brains.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'd put Kaylin as a brawn.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Rich as a brawn.
Hmm.
Things like that. I'd put, for example, I'd put Zen as a brain.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like little things like that. But it was a great mix. It was a
Yeah.
great mix. It had all the aspect of it, and it was a great season. It was a very, what's the word, chaotic season, I would say.
Yeah.
It was, you
Mhm.
could never tell who was going home next.
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
that's what I really enjoyed. It's like, who's going home now? Like, is it? Oh no, it's not. No, is it this person? And then bang, blindside. And we nearly went to rocks as well. Like, come on,
I know.
like I was like, go rocks, go rocks, go rocks, go rocks.
Now, would you have gone? I mean, it's easy to like put ourselves in the situation, but uh, where do you think you would have gone to rocks? Yes. Okay.
Hundred
Good.
percent.
Good.
You make you living out your survivor dream. You go to rocks.
I suspected I knew the answer to that, and you have not disappointed.
I think probably 80% of
Yeah.
this cast would have gone. Maybe even 90% would have gone to rocks. I reckon.
Yeah.
Maybe, possibly.
Hmm.
Personal.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Like, I mean, going to rocks is like it's a very rare occasion to happen.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mhm.
For sure. Well, with that, you do. I do want to talk about the season as a whole. But before we do that, did your vote out? Obviously, you did what you could. Is there anything that you wish you could go back and do differently that would have changed that final vote out? Yeah, it seemed like everything was weighing against you going into that vote.
You saw how brutal that was.
Yeah. Hmm.
Look, it didn't affect me what's one bit what people said. I
Yeah.
know who I am. People who've met me in real life know what I'm like, and obviously the
Hmm.
cast know who I am. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's different. I mean, maybe I did get on people's nerves, or I was a bit out there too much. But you know, you do wrongs, you do right. You can't play a perfect game. Look, there wasn't much more I could do on my exit vote. I mean,
Yeah.
I tried to play the fake idol.
Yeah.
Um, I tried, but it's, do I pull it and then people believe it and votes go somewhere else and maybe Earth goes home, because it was between me and
Mm.
Earth that night. More
Yeah.
me. Do I pull that trick, or what do I do? It's fighting a battle with 10 other people who are ready to take you down.
Hmm.
How much more can you say or do? Like, I mean, they said what they needed to say, and
Yeah.
I took it. It is what it is. That's their opinions.
Hmm.
I fought my battle, and I went home with a smile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's all I could ever do, is that I tried my best. But
Hmm.
if they had kept me, it would have been a
Yeah.
whole crazy next couple episodes. Trust me. It would have been more explosive than day one. Trust me.
Well, that is maybe just a reason to bring you back on in the future. Is there anything that you would do differently going into a future season?
I definitely, obviously, not show an idol when I find one. You
Fair
know,
enough. Yeah.
unless the tribes are a bit more open up to it. Um, I probably wouldn't look for an idol straight away.
Yeah. Mm,
Um, Me personally, going and looking for an idol, it was more of a, hey, I'm the biggest person on here. I could be an easy target for first out.
yeah. Mhm.
Obviously, looking at everyone surrounding us, they're all fit, they're fast, great physique. And I'm like, maybe I need a backup.
Yeah.
So maybe not looking for an idol straight away. Look, when it comes to making friends and building relationships, I've done that and I'm not worried about that. It's not like, it was day 3 and I had no friends. It was, you had laughs, you connected, you joked. It's the building the relationship it's the thing. It was more, let's just go out there and suss things around. And if an idol pops up, you take it.
Yeah.
And I got lucky. Like, really, it was, I got lucky and I was hunting for idols for the next 8 days after that.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
never alone because everyone would just follow me. Because
Yeah.
whenever I was alone, I'd never get a chance to be alone.
Mm. Did
It
that
was always
Yeah, did that I that's we see that often that people will babysit the people that are on the bottom. Did that stop you from trying to find an idol, or was
no,
it okay?
no, no. No. I kept on looking and looking
Okay.
and looking. Trust me, I looked everywhere. I looked and looked, and they're not as easy to find. I tell you that. They are one of the hardest things to find.
Yeah. Well, which
They're
makes
just disguised in the bushland. Like they're not easy. They're
yeah.
not easy. And congrats to Miles.
Right.
Whew, I need Miles's eyes. I tell you that.
Getting
If I had his eyes, it would have been great. But there wasn't much idols found in the bronze anyway, besides
yeah.
poorly finding the the clue when we won reward.
Mhm.
Other
Yeah.
than that, there was no other brawn that actually found an idol.
Yeah, that's true because the Kristen found it during the challenge. But yeah, that's a great point. Hmm.
It, and that's why I'm like the brains actually went looking for idols.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's see gameplay wise, I'd always go looking for one. Whether I have
Yeah.
one or two, you'd always look for one. It's never you're never safe. You're never safe.
Yeah. Well,
And being Kaylin, obviously you're always safe if you're winning always the immunity challenges. And congratulations to him breaking records. He is a machine. He
yeah,
is a machine.
something else, and I don't think that record is gonna be broken anytime soon.
Man, Australian Survivor, we're full of records. We're full of records. I tell you that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it Alex and I always say that we enjoy this version of Survivor more than anything, and so,
Yeah.
uh, as you think about getting to watch the rest of the season, were you surprised about how the season unfolded or turned out with at least the brains dominating kind of the merge or
Yeah, look, once the brain started dominating the bronze, it was
yeah,
just like, what are you guys doing? Where's the battle?
yeah.
Where's the battle? Once AJ took over the hostages,
Mhm.
it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Paulie and Kate and Kristen for, making jury.
Yeah.
Amazing work. But I would have loved to see majority bronze on there, to be honest.
Yeah.
But hey, the brains battled and battled and battled, and they won the fight in the end.
Yeah.
The 3
Mhm.
brains in the end for 500K, they done real well.
Yeah. Well, 4 too, right? Because Zara is
Zara,
at Final 4. Mhm.
Final Four, yeah, Zara,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
It was not much of a battle, and I suspect that we might not see another Brains versus Braun, with Brains winning back to back, of this matchup.
No, definitely, I don't think so. No, I think if it's going to happen, Brain vs Bronze 3, um,
Uh-huh.
there's definitely going to be a whole different ball game out there. I tell you that people are going to come. The Brawns are going to come back battling hard.
Well, we need more bronze like you out there, right? With a different kind of mindset of playing the game, playing a little bit harder,
Look,
and yeah,
I'm all
obviously.
I'm
Okay,
all
sorry, go
about
ahead.
chaos. You know what? Go chaos. cause
Yeah.
drama, shake the group up. Why not? You know, you're
Uh,
living on an island with no food, sleeping on the floor. So your
mhm.
fire goes out sometimes. Cause
Yeah.
a bit of drama, have a bit of fun, get it a bit exciting, get people energized. You know what I mean? Look, you
Mhm.
get your kickback days, of course, but why not make it interesting? You know, stir the
Yeah.
pot. I love it. I love it.
Well, with that in mind, obviously someone who stirred the pot a lot and made it interesting was our winner in Miles. Putting your
Miles, yeah.
putting yourself on the jury, how do you think you would have voted? How are you thinking about the final two? Obviously, you weren't there in the moment, so but you've heard things. What would have been your perspective of that final two?
Miles's pitch sold me
Yeah.
instantly.
Mm,
Congratulations to Miles. Congratulations to Kaylin to make final two. I would definitely say Miles's pitch, he did fight from the bottom
yeah.
all the way through to the top. Yes, he had a couple of advantages, played them amazingly, perfectly to his gameplay. Kalen personally should have started making some moves, being the
Mhm.
challenge king.
Yep.
But I think it was a bit too late.
Mhm.
And that's why Miles would have won my vote in the end too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the Miles definitely played an excellent game, and it's easy to, we can look at things that Kalen should have done, but also we always talk about someone's poor move is matched by someone's great move, right? And Miles just played a great
He played
game
a great,
overall. Yeah.
great game. And
Mhm.
look, even if you think about it, if Kalen was to choose AJ in the end,
Yeah.
it'd still be AJ for me.
Yeah.
With all the gameplay that he was doing, you know,
Mhm.
AJ played, I would say, one of the best Survivor games of all time.
Okay.
Personal,
Yeah.
personal opinion. Personal opinion.
Mhm.
His strategy, his courage. He's trying to do things and make it exciting, and not always just go the same things and always strategizing. I loved it. I loved watching AJ. It
Yeah.
was so exciting. He was exciting.
Yeah. He
He was
he was
exciting.
a fun and he was a fun character and unexpectedly so. I don't think we were expecting all of that in the pre-game of stuff, uh, advertisements, the first interviews. I don't think we expected that out of AJ, and he came to play for certain. With that in mind, you mentioned kind of AJ being someone you'd want to play with. Was there anyone else on the Brains tribe that you wish you had gotten to play with?
Look, AJ, Rich, Kent,
Yeah.
Laura. I think I would have been fun with Logan and Karen too.
Yeah.
Look, they had a very crazy tribe. No, we
Uh-huh.
had a very lovable tribe. We were very well connected. There's no one that had problems with each other. At night, we'd sing, we'd talk, we'd play games. You know, like I mean, we were very, very well connected. You know, there wasn't as much as we knew who was on the bottom. It was never strategy 24 hours, 7 days a week, and that's
Mhm.
why we, as brawns, we got along very, very tight knit. You know, I understand how they think.
Yeah.
Um, but I enjoy the chaoticness of the brains.
Yeah.
You know, keeps me energized, I guess,
Yeah.
because you can't break the bronze. It's very hard to break, and where with the brains, I felt like you could have broken here and there and try and swing boats and stuff like because everyone was open to do things.
Mhm.
Where me being at the bottom and trying to convince the bronze to save me, anyone, it was just like no, 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 no.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's where I found the struggle.
Yeah. And I think it was visible on the screen, like, how difficult it was to break into that, and I think part of the reason why the Brains they felt more flexible, and they ended up dominating most of the merge because of that flexibility. But,
Hmm. Agreed. Agreed.
yeah. Well, with that in mind, we're kind of wrapping up. The last couple of questions here for you, Nash, is what has this experience meant for you? What are you taking away from your time on Survivor?
This experience has taught me how much my body can handle,
Mm,
mentally, physically, and emotionally, how much I can really handle, even though I think I'm at my bottom with 5% left before my
yeah.
death. You always have an extra 30, 40, 50% to get back up. Like, being hungry and lack of sleep and emotionally upset and sad being away from your kids. If you program your mind strong enough, you can push that all to the side and just be back to normal at
Mm,
100%. Um, it's taught me a lot of things in life, is to appreciate the time you have now and not hold any grudges and just move on because you live once,
mm,
and just to be happy and smile. Like, you've just experienced something that only, what, how many seasons is there? 240 people have
yeah.
experienced, over the last 10 years. Just take it as a gift, and if you can re-gift it and share with other people your experience, do that.
Mm.
But I'd love another opportunity. So if people out there want to see me back on again, let me know. 'Cause I've already, I'm ready to go back on. I'm mentally prepared. I can get physically ready for it, no problem.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to go back on again. I miss it. I love it. Now that it's not on anymore, it's there's nothing to really look forward to, because I was
Mhm.
excited to come home and watch it and see what happened. Even though I
Uh-huh.
knew a lot of the things anyway, but it was good to see it on the TV.
Yeah.
But look, if you want to go on Survivor, just do it. Don't let nobody stop you.
Mm.
Trust me, because you could be that one person that could take it all. You
Yeah.
just don't know. So don't worry about what you look like, what size you are, what color you are, what race you are. You're still human. We all bleed the same blood, and that's
Yeah.
how I see it.
Yeah. It's a great word. Great word
Yeah.
for everyone to hear. And a
Yeah.
good reminder, right? When especially in these days. Well, last question for you, Nash. Is there a moment or an experience that was really meaningful for you that maybe we didn't get to see on our TV screen?
Um, Look, I think just walking out on the mat
Yeah.
for the first time and seeing Jonathan JLP, introducing everything. I think it was for real. But I think the biggest moment for me, and it's like, wow, I'm really here, is tribal council.
Yeah.
Like when you walk in, it's like, is this really tribal council? Like, what the hell? Like, it's crazy. Like, and then obviously doing the voting and everything is like, wow. Like, 'cause, you see it on TV, but it's just, the experience is so amazing. Everything about it, just being
Mm,
on an island, not eating, and everything was just all like an amazing experience. And I don't regret anything.
yeah.
I'd make some changes, but I wouldn't say I regret it. Like,
Mm,
I hope, TV was great, the first 4 episodes, and everyone enjoyed it, and it made good TV, and people had a laugh, and people got angry, and I made people pissed off. And look, it is what it is. You can't make everyone happy, and I am
uh-huh.
who I am. And if you enjoyed it, thank you. And if you didn't enjoy it, well, watch this space. I'm gonna be back on again. But no, on a serious note, like, just I enjoyed it. There's nothing about it that I would change. Obviously, making changes, but just, it was a whole surreal experience for me, and I
Yeah.
thank everyone for even giving me the opportunity to being on there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for putting yourself out there, right?
No,
It is
more than happy to, man.
it is a challenge to put yourself on national TV, and put yourself in that situation and to, make some big moves, for better or worse.
Exactly right. Yes.
Well, great, great. Well, Nash, I hope that you get to play again, and see maybe with a different group of people on your tribe, maybe some
Who
of your
knows? Who knows? Heroes, villains, titans, best rebels. Who knows? I
yeah.
don't care. Doesn't bother me. Just put me back on.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that you were previous friends with both Ferris and
And George,
George.
yeah.
Would you want to play with either of those two, or is it more of like, nah, I don't want to play with those two?
Oh, bring it on. Bring it on.
All right.
I think be a very great season. I mean, you've got, George, who's very out there and spoken, and
Yep.
you've got Firas, who's very, socially friendly and, strategic, and then you've got Nash. Let's just be chaotic and just throw things on the fire and see what happens. So I think it'll be a great season. So let's just wait and see what Survivor holds in the next couple of years. But look, anyone, I play with anyone. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. If I get a chance, I get a chance. If I don't, it doesn't bother me. I've experienced it,
Yeah.
and it opens up doors for other people to experience it. So, to live out their dreams. So go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, Nash, thanks so much for being on. We do appreciate greatly the former players who want to give back to the Survivor community and take the time. And so, thanks for chatting with me today. Is there anything
Anytime.
that you want to plug to the fans out there, whether it's Instagram or anything that you've got going on outside of this podcast?
No, not really. I'm just
Okay.
being more social media
Yeah.
active, I guess. I never used Instagram before I started Survivor. I was
Hmm.
always a Facebook boy.
Yeah.
I don't even touch Facebook anymore. Everything's all Instagram. So no, there's not much out there. I mean, just if you want to come out and say hi, I'm happy to reply to everyone's messages. And
Yeah.
if you're ever in Sydney, Australia, hit me up. More than happy to go for lunch or dinner or a quick beer.
Sounds great. Well, Alex and I have been, we've been talking about how we're gonna get over to Australia one of these days, and so hopefully we'll be able to make the tour of
You
all of
won't
our.
regret it, mate. The land down under, you will never regret it.
Good. Well, Nash, one more time, thank you so much for hopping on today.
Thanks, Caleb.
For
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone who has made it to the end of this video or the podcast, thanks for sticking on. Be sure that you're following us at Speaking Llama, and until next time, we'll speak Llama to you later.
Peace.